I was looking on Facebook for a group of dental startups, and I searched and searched and I couldn't find one. I would love to just be able to share ideas with people who are doing exactly what I'm doing. And so when I didn't find one, I started one, and now we're throwing our first retreat in Napa. So no, I would have never thought in a million years that 5 years in, it would be this amazing.
Hey guys, what's up? This is episode number 42 of Go Live with Joshua Scott. I've got one of my besties on right now. Guys, this is Ashley Joves with Smile and Company. Ashley, how are you today?
I am doing so well. Thank you for that intro, Josh. I was just telling Josh before we recorded, I was coming in hot. We added a patient today. Normally I don't work on Wednesdays, or I cut down my clinical days to Wednesdays or to Mondays and Tuesdays. And this patient really wanted to get in. So it's like, Colin, I literally left the patient in the chair. I mean, she was in good hands. She was in Colin's hands, but I never do that. I typically wait until that patient leaves. I'm like, no, I gotta go. Sorry.
It's a podcast, I know. We
Yeah.
would have run late for you though. I would have held on, but I appreciate it. So how's things going? It's been just a minute since we've seen you.
Things have been busy. Oh my gosh. Things have been going so well though. I can't complain. Smile & Co. Part 1, Smile & Co. Folsom we've grown by leaps and bounds. I have 2 amazing associate docs, a full team of, I think there are 13 of us now.
Wow.
And we're about to open our second location. I should say, okay, let me back up. We are not even starting demolition for the second location. So with COVID, the departures are crazy, but that office supposedly will be done by first quarter of next year if all things go well. And so that's been fun. And also hosting our first ever startup retreat with you guys.
I know.
Yeah, so it's there's a lot. And the boys, I have 3 boys and they are all in sports. So on Monday we had 3 practices. I'm like,
man,
this is crazy. I don't know how people do this.
I know. Well, look, anytime we talk, I'm always just like, hey, next 30 minutes, tell me all the new stuff, because there's always a lot of it. But going back, we've been friends now for 3-4 years.
5.
5. Is the 5-year anniversary coming up?
It is.
Yeah.
Next
That's
week.
how my mind works though. It feels like it's been 3,
Mhm.
I'm like, it can't be 5 years. That seems way too long. But yeah, we met actually, Michael Arias, a mutual friend, and your partner there in the making of, introduced us. And yeah, just, we won't get into all that, but ever since then, I mean, did a phone call with you as you were starting Smile & Co. And we're talking about potential working together. And I remember I'll just kind of throw this out there because this is like my favorite thing to tell, but I remember one of the things you said to me was, you were like, is this crazy? Meaning like doing a startup in California, one of the most competitive places. And the conversation was like, look, if you're going to build the same old thing that's out there, it's going to be hard. But if you can do something that's different, then you can compete and succeed. And did you, like, that at that point, did you see this 5 years later and go like, yeah, I'm going to be there? Or is this kind of all crazy?
I think it's all crazy. I really do. I didn't want to do a startup at all. In fact, I was terrified. I still am terrified, even opening up our second location. And if it weren't for all of the other offices getting snagged up, like all the brokers basically were selling existing old dingy offices for a ton of money. if they weren't all getting snatched up, I wouldn't have opened Smile and Co.
Yeah.
And Brian, my amazing husband behind the scenes, he basically told me like you just have to do it. And I always told him, well, they don't need another dentist. They don't they don't need one. We are so saturated here. And he basically said, well, that's true, but they may need you. And he knew that we were going to do something crazy and fun and different, and it's paid off.
Yeah. I love that. Brian's such a good guy.
He's
I mean, I
okay.
wish, yeah, he's okay. I know. I, I probably, I wish we could, like, I wish we could live closer to you guys because, yes, it's fun talking to you, but secretly, Brian and I would be drinking bourbon on the weekends and,
Always, yes.
watching sports and having fun. We would be bros for sure.
I
uh,
definitely would agree with that. He loves you, and I mean I love both of you. You guys are amazing, and anytime you can get people together and talk not just about business and the industry, but just talk as friends, and it just feels so natural with you guys.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like since we met, gosh, we've been able to share some like really even just fun dinners together at great places. I mean, Phoenix up at the Four Seasons
Oh,
that one night was so nice.
so
Even
nice.
just like this end of last year, you guys met us up in Napa and had dinner at Bardesano, and so we've been some cool places and got to share some cool memories. What would be fun is to ask him 5 years ago when you were like green lighting this, were you ready for the
Yeah,
ride,
yeah.
um but I'm sure he knew what was coming for sure.
I think he has such an I don't know if it is just confidence, but he he isn't afraid of risk like I am.
Mm,
And if you asked him if he were in the room now, he would say absolutely, I saw this coming. Like
yeah,
I knew you were going to be successful.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
he's been that voice. We all need that. I mean, there are times I think when you're in it, sometimes you see something and you hesitate, and it's just that question of like, do I have what it takes? Can I
mhm,
do this? And having somebody behind you that's like, you got it, go
you
for it.
have to. You have to.
Yeah, it's
And
valuable.
it's so interesting because you would think that after doing this the first time around, after having, our track record and just like patients really love the different environment that we provide, you would think that opening up a second location would be easier
Hmm,
and the fear would be minimized because we've done this before. It's like having another kid. But it, in fact, I feel like it almost amplified for me
okay.
because now it's like we've already set the bar. Now more people are potentially watching what we're doing. And
Yeah.
then that fear of failure, I don't think that ever goes away, at least for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, let's jump into this because I don't know that there's some questions here I don't even know that I know the answer to with this. So yeah, like I look, sometimes I use these just to get caught up with people, like let's just catch up and record it at the same time. So, but when you decided, like, what made you decide about a second location?
So you know how they tell you never do business emotionally, like it should be a logical decision.
Yeah.
I don't do anything logically. It's all it's all
All
on
emotion.
emotion. It
Yeah.
is all on emotion. And our first location, we have reached our capacity. Like we are bursting at the seams. We have no parking spaces for patients to park their cars. And even the ability to add same day treatment or get new patients in through the doors faster, it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
And so I've been craving just more space for a while. And Brian, he had a broker. He knew of a broker who was working with him and his partner. So Brian's a part of a multi-location private practice. He's in medicine. And so this broker was showing Brian properties for where they were going to build their next location. And I tagged along. And this guy, so I met him and he said, oh, like, what do you do? I'm a dentist. And long story short, he basically had a pocket listing. And he said, this isn't even on the market. Let me know, like, do you want to see it? And I love real estate. I mean, I
Yeah.
could look at homes, I could look at buildings all day long. That's what I love to do. Like on the weekends, Brian and I, we drive around and see what open houses are available.
Yeah.
Um, so he took us to this building, and as soon as I walked in the space, Josh, it was like, this is this was meant to be. Like I feel it, like, and that was the moment that I knew that I was going to build Smiling Co. Wholesome. Like I
Mm.
walked into the space and I just imagined what the floor plan would look like, what the interiors would look like, and it was the same, if not stronger. And then after the broker showed it to us, Brian and I, we went to lunch, and he basically said, you're going to do this, aren't you? And I was like, yes, yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got there's a little bit of a component of like being in the space, like feeling the vibe, that tips it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it
Yeah.
has so all of the things that I wanted in our first location, which was parking,
Mhm.
ample light. Like I love tall ceilings,
Yeah.
and like the floor, like the windows are so nice. And it just felt like so open. Like I hate dental office. And that was one of the things too that I was looking for when I was looking at purchasing an existing practice. Like
Mhm.
all of these older offices just felt so claustrophobic. And I feel that that the design matters. Like I think that when you are in a space, like the energy speaks to you. And if
Yeah.
I am not motivated, if I'm not inspired by my environment, how can I expect patients to be inspired or my
Yeah.
team to be inspired? So um it just it called to me, and it was just perfect timing, I guess. And here we are.
Yeah, yeah. I would probably argue, I look, I think that emotional piece is there and it's important. I would probably argue that there's actually a lot of logic behind the scenes because you've got a successful practice already. You know, it's not like you've been in there like 8 months and you're like, hey, we're successful, let's go do another one. I mean, you've been there 5 years. You've got a team that, you know, is like solid. You feel like you can rely on and depend on. So then when you do walk into a space, it's just like you probably need both of those, right? Like you need to know this is going to work and we've got a good strong foundation, but I need to walk in and feel it at the same time.
Oh, 100%. And I'm glad you point that out, because if I didn't have the amazing team that I have now,
Yeah.
this would not be possible. Like it,
Yeah.
I rely even more so now. I rely so much on Colin and Judy and my amazing docs, and all my everyone plays such a huge role in why Smiling Co is successful, and our branding and our culture, and that feeling that patients get when they walk through our doors. So if I were doing this without that support structure, I mean, there'd be no way. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
start from scratch. It's in California, especially, it's a big investment to buy a building and then have zero patients when you open. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What's have you always kind of had that intuition part? Like when did you kind of first pick up like, hey, I feel stuff and I should listen to that and be confident about it?
So I am an Enneagram 7.
Okay.
I don't know if you I mean, you're married
Oh
to
yeah.
an 8.
Yep. I am.
So I'm very in tune with like my feelings with I derive my energy from
Yeah.
other energies. Does that make sense? No.
Oh yeah.
It's always been like, I don't know, like but it also bites me in the butt because a lot of my decisions are not logical.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is why I have an amazing team to help me implement my crazy ideas, like
Yeah.
throwing a retreat and opening a second location at the same time. Like, who does that?
Might as well. Might as well, right? um, yeah, and sevens kind of they've got a little bit of spontaneous side to them too, where it's like that. It's almost something about yeah, it's like you're feeling the energy, whether it's people, and in your case, man, maybe it's even spaces and vibes and all the things, but that it tips you like, all right, I know I wasn't talking about this, but like I see it, and let's go. So yeah, no, that's great. What's been the scariest part of number two so far?
Uh, well, definitely the amount of loans that I've had to take out for that property, and
Yeah.
I'm already paying it back because I'm no longer considered a startup because I have a
Mm,
first location. You would think that like doing a second startup, you still get all the perks of being a startup. No, no,
yeah.
you're
No.
considered an established business, unfortunately. So I've been paying for the basically the mortgage on that building since we own it,
Okay.
and it's a hefty price tag, especially considering that there is no business yet, like, and we're 8 or 9 months away. So
Yeah.
that worries me, and but it takes money to make money. So yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, just feeling the fear of, will this grow as fast as we did in the first location, especially since we're trying not to be so dependent on insurances the
Yeah.
second go around.
Okay.
So, um, yeah.
Yeah. Those delays, I've seen this with the startup doctors that we work with and the clients. When you get into a situation where you have delays, it's almost like, hey, we were supposed to open in the summer and now it's the fall, and now they tell me the first of the year. It's difficult from a mental from the mentality is it's hard because you got loans, you've got things coming due, but you can't generate business. It's almost like
Right.
if you could open the doors and at least start getting patients in, get revenue, things would almost kind of settle down. Has it been just, has that part been hard? Just kind of going like, we're okay. We're okay.
So I'm glad that I'm married to Brian because Brian is, like I said, he's more risk averse, or no,
Yeah.
more risk tolerant. I am risk averse. Um, and I'm also fortunate that Brian is also my sugar daddy. So he, but I mean, everything that I am producing in the Folsom location, it has been going back to the business.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have we're good in terms of that money being used for, it's basically floating Smiling Cove, Roseville. So
Yeah.
um but it definitely helps. I swear, like this, if you didn't have like a significant other who was generating income, or if this is your first rodeo, yeah, I mean, there were so many sleepless nights opening up our first location for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Any plans for number three, number four? What's that look like?
Well, since you mention it, no, Brian will kill me for
uh,
one. But whenever I go to, so we just got back from Maui,
okay.
Josh. I swear, whenever we go there, I always research like, okay, how do I get a license in Hawaii?
Yeah.
What does the what does the landscape look like? And it's crazy because I did it again. We were there and I was on my phone Googling dentist near me. You won't believe it. The first office that I landed on, I was looking at the About Me section of the doctor.
Yeah.
He relocated from Folsom, California, like
Whoa.
12 years ago. I'm like, what are the odds of that happening?
Yeah.
It's bonkers. So no, there will not be a third or fourth. No, this is it. This is it. And then I need to be good for a while.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe you. I feel like you're gonna be in Hawaii 3 years from now. You're gonna walk into a space and be like, we gotta do this.
I actually have two friends who are dentists on Maui, and it would be very easy to create a Smiling Co Maui. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
So
oh, for sure.
I mean it could happen.
Yeah, it totally could happen. Well, all right. So let's talk about the making of group a little bit and the startup retreat. You and Michael with this group have built arguably one of the biggest Facebook groups in dentistry. Take us back to just how the whole making of brand like came about. Like what was the origin of that?
So I did that crazy Facebook Live video that I still can't watch to this day. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, good. Don't go looking into
I'll
my
put the link in
history.
the show notes. just just kidding.
So I created that video and then Michael saw that video and I had no idea who Michael was. I had never listened to any podcast. No, sorry. I hadn't listened to his podcast and he reached out and he basically said, I would love to interview you for the show. And then after we wrapped, he came up with this idea, let's start documenting your startup story in real time because one, it hasn't been done. And if you're this terrified, I mean, chances are more dentists, more docs just like you have the same feeling. And so that was the beginning of the making of Smile and Co. And then after that, I mean, we've had, I think, 8 or 9 docs since then. But while I was building the office, there were a few threads already on Dental Town that website that I actually haven't been on in like a decade probably. And
Yeah.
I was looking on Facebook for a group of dental startups, and I searched and searched and I couldn't find one. And I was like, huh, I would love to just be able to share ideas with people who are doing exactly what I'm doing, and we can learn and grow from each other. And so when I didn't find one, I started one, and that was yeah, 5 years ago. And since then, everyone has just been telling their friends, the other docs who are looking to open their own offices from scratch, and we're now almost 12,000, and we've kept it very high quality. Like we don't
Yeah.
want a bunch of like spammers, and most, I would say 85% of the group is still a doctor,
Yeah.
which is really nice. And if someone comes in and they are trying to promote themselves or like spam the group, they're booted out
Yeah.
instantaneously. So yeah, that's basically the genesis of the group. And now it's, I mean, we're throwing our first retreat in Napa. So I'm
I know. I was
excited.
gonna say it's more than just a group. I mean, it's a group, but it's a podcast. Now it's an experience. It's turning into a whole brand. Um, is that did you feel like it was gonna go that way, or was this just like, hey, let's get a group together?
I mean, I no, like it has taken on its own brand, which is super cool. It it's been so exciting just to watch the beginnings of my office and then watch the beginnings of the podcast and the subsequent doctors that are documenting their stories, and then the growth of the group
Yeah.
all in tandem with each other. And no, I would have never thought in a million years that 5 years in, it would be this amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. When did you first kind of have the idea or thought, like, what if we did something in person?
So that's a great question. If you are an OG in the group, whenever I had a CE in a different city,
Mm.
I would go into the group and say, hey, I'm going to be in Denver this day, from this day to this day. Anyone interested in a meetup? So it started out as little meetups,
Yeah.
and like I went to Seattle, and then we met up with like 10 other docs one year. And this was in the very beginning. And
Yeah.
then I think our biggest meetup was in San Diego. We had like 45 docs come in for dinner. Like, holy smoke, like our group was getting, it was evolving, and we were forming real connections, not just in the group, which was so fun.
Yeah.
And so I've always been a let's get together and let's actually support each other. Like, let's be friends, not just Facebook friends. And I had an idea of creating an in-person event in, was it 2020? And that magical thing happened in 2020 where the world shut down.
Yeah.
And and then it became very real how important connections were, like
Yeah.
in-person gatherings. Um and then in 2021 it was just crazy, just opening up and rebuilding everything.
Yeah.
And then 2022, I was like, okay, it's time. Like we've postponed it. And it just so happens to be our 5th year anniversary of the group, the podcast, the office. Like, we're gonna go big. And that's what we're doing in Napa.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we saw you. It was November of last year. You guys met us up in Napa, and we actually filmed just a little quick promo to kind of put it out there. And so, yeah, I mean, that was about the time you were like, all right, 2022 is the year, and we were a year out from that point. So this isn't a decision. I know sometimes you're like, hey, I'm spontaneous, but I'm also like, yeah, but this is something you've been thinking about for a while. What makes this CE event different from every other CE event out there?
That is a great question. So well, one, I'm not even calling it a CE event. I'm calling it a retreat.
Okay.
And I think now more than ever, if I never hear that phrase again, no, I just said it. Now more than ever,
Yeah.
we just need a place where we can really let our hair down and have real conversations. Like, I think the best learning that I've gotten through a lot of the courses that I've taken in my career have always been outside of the classroom, outside of the conference hall,
Mhm.
when it's happy hour or like one of the social gatherings, and you're talking with your peers, like one-on-one, and you're sharing experiences, and you're talking about like, this is why this year sucked for me, or like, this is why we had a great year. And you're exchanging like the highs and lows of your practices. That's
Yeah.
always what I've wanted. So Napa is, I didn't want a big, like, let's get 300 people in a conference room where they can get lectured all day. I wanted an experience, and my favorite place in the entire world is Napa. Brian and you are big winos,
Yeah.
and it just feels.
I was gonna say wine connoisseur, but
Oh,
wino, it's fine. We'll roll with it.
winos, wine. See, I don't even use the lingo correctly. Wine connoisseurs,
There you go.
and I just wanted it to feel like a vacation of like a coming together of the minds where we are celebrating what we've built, what we're about to build, and where we can hear from CEOs, like people who are dentists. The majority of us are dentists, but who are also paving different paths,
Yeah.
not just in patients' mouths. Like, I mean, it's become apparent that there are so many things that you need to be doing to be successful. Like
Yeah.
if you can't, like if you injure your hands, what are you going to do next? And I know that especially this age of docs, like you need multiple sources of income,
Yeah.
and people are always looking at like how else can I diversify, what else can I do to build, like what is my legacy? And that is what I want for Napa. Like I want everyone who's there to be like-minded and surrounded by people who are doing exactly that, because why recreate the wheel?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's amazing. When we started talking about some of the details early on, I mean, when we say this is an experience, it's not just hyperbole. This isn't just like, oh, it's a relational experience. I mean, I mean, this is an experience. I mean, you've got vineyard tours and vineyard dinners and why, like, all set up. It's going to be kind of nonstop for 2 days in like a really good way.
Yes, yes, we when you come to Napa, we are going to wine and dine you. Like
Yeah.
we the from the moment you come in on Wednesday, so all the attendees are flying in on Wednesday. We have a welcome reception. Thursday, our conference, our mastermind is set up in a room, a small group, and it's only there from 8 to 12. And then we get whisked off by our tour guide, and we go to the first winery, and then we come back, and but the learning doesn't stop, right? Like I
Right.
think the best learning is going to happen while drinking wine, while tasting hors d'oeuvres. And then
Yeah.
we're going to be escorted back to the hotel where we can get dolled up and ready for dinner. And then we have the dinners planned. Yeah, so from Wednesday until Friday night, you are our guest.
Yeah.
And we've planned it all out, the itinerary. And then Saturday, we have a free day. So if you bring your significant other and you want to do your own wine tasting, or if you want to get a smaller group of docs together to do excursions, we have that available for you. So
Yeah.
it's going to be, I love to eat, so it's going to be an amazing 2.5 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're acting like you don't like wine either. And this is all just about Brian and I, but I've seen you drink some wine too. So
Well, I've become a wine snob because of Brian. I
yeah.
can't tell you what I'm drinking, but I can tell you like if I like it. And my palate has definitely changed from 2 Buck Chuck.
Yeah.
Do you remember, did you ever drink Trader Joe's 2 Buck Chuck?
No, I never have.
You
I
were always
never
way better than us.
have.
But yeah, being this close to wine country, it definitely it makes us very spoiled. Um,
Yeah.
so
No, I
we're
should go get a bottle for sure. Because I honestly, I never touched alcohol until I turned 30. So that
what?
was like, Yeah, it was kind of a crazy deal just because like my past, like I, went to seminary and kind of some of that world. So just never got into it. One of the first experiences, I was in Sonoma setting up a business trip, and I was like, yeah, and I'm setting up a vineyard. They're like, you want to do a tasting? I'm like, sure. So like so probably the thing that spoiled me is like the first time I'm having wine, I'm actually like in Sonoma tasting it. And
Oh my gosh.
so buying something at Trader Joe's is probably, didn't the, end cap, $2 bottle just didn't appeal to me. But
No.
yeah,
So
on the
I guess
level.
you've never had wine from a box then, Franzia?
One time I did. Um it's fine, it's good, right? It's fine. It's a lot of wine. It's like 4 bottles of wine in a box. So like go for it.
Oh my gosh, Josh. Okay, so I'm just gonna let the cat out of the bag.
Okay.
One of the vineyards we're going to is called, why is it escaping me right now? Jarvis.
Okay.
Jarvis. Okay, so the pictures online do not do it justice.
Yeah.
Like it is all underground, like wine caves. And you walk in, well, first the doors like open. It feels like you're almost like James Bond.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they gave us a tour of where our party is going to be. And it is insane. Like I can't,
Wow. Wow.
it, I'm not even going to spoil the surprise because there's
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff happening.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, if you're not, I know you don't actually have a lot of spots left. I think it's like 10, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're a couple months out. Couple spots left. But I mean, if you really want a unique special experience, this is gonna be it. It was funny because I remember having this conversation with you. I think it was in the spring where I was like, you were telling me all the things, and I'm like, that's great. I was like, you probably, we could probably cut down on some costs if if you just did one dinner. One dinner is like people are gonna be like, they're gonna love it. And you're like, I've already given out deposits, we're in. I'm like, we're doing all the dinners. Like, let's go for it. So it's you, like when you do something, it's all in, it's at a certain level, and you commit to it. And this is gonna be, yeah, this is gonna be I think it's gonna be the event of the year for sure.
Well, I certainly in my head it's definitely going to be the event of it's going to be a freaking party. It's going to be a party to celebrate the 5 amazing years of this community
Yeah.
of docs just like growing together. Like and
Yeah.
I can't even, I mean, I know who's coming because I know who the guest list is. And there are some amazing docs on that list. It's going to be an epic time in the best the best place ever during the best time of year, which is like
Yeah.
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I think I think some of this is happening, I think, kind of post-COVID, but CE events like this, because we've always had the big ones, right? I think everybody kind of chases the really big events and got to have 1,000 people and the AV system and the screens and all that stuff. But I love the smaller boutique events. Joanna and I have talked about doing one, at some point we may just, 25 people just at a hotel, like that, like just have some fun experiences, because those are the things that actually change us.
Yeah.
And as I think as we even get older, and then kind of our careers, it's like those are the things that matter most is, being in a room of 1,000 people, cool. Being in Napa with 25 people, that's an entirely different thing.
Yes.
So
I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, I think I said it during one of my Facebook lives to the group, but I basically said I'm not interested in hearing what the masses have to say anymore.
yeah,
Like because if you do exactly what everyone else is doing, you'll get exactly what everyone else has got.
yeah,
And my I want to push myself. And how do you push yourself? You surround yourself in a room where people are better than you
yeah,
and you learn from each other. So it's going to be a very intimate, upscale, um, exclusive exclusive room that we get to be in Napa.
yeah.
So I can't wait.
Have you ever thought, do you think of yourself, have you ever thought of yourself as a visionary?
I hadn't heard of that word until I read Traction
Hmm,
by Gino Wickman.
yeah,
I just thought everybody thought like me. I just thought like, oh, well, if I'm thinking this, then I mean, everybody else does. And it wasn't until like doing personality profile types in my office and then reading the book and then working and running my business that yeah, not everybody is going to think like you. Like the
yeah,
visionary, you don't want multiple visionaries in an organization.
yeah,
Otherwise, nothing will get done. And I have, I mean, now I know that I'm a visionary, and I also know how important it is to have amazing integrators next
yeah,
to you.
yeah. What's being a visionary and looking out over the next 5 years, what's capturing your attention? What do you, 5 years from now, we're sitting here having the same conversation. What are you doing? What do you see?
So 5 years from now, our second location is up and running and wildly successful. I would love to have, honestly, two fee-for-service practices doing high-end cosmetic dentistry. And in terms of the actual group, I want to create a mastermind every year of the small docs, and
Mhm.
we would follow each other throughout the year, and then we'll have maybe one or two meetups during the year, and there will be an exotic location every time. And on top of that, I see no reason why the startup community can't have its own full-blown conference.
Yeah,
I mean, more and more docs are graduating, wanting to do things their own way.
yeah,
And having all the vendors and having, all of the best and brightest, and maybe in 5 years we'll have attendees in the thousands. I would love that.
yeah, yeah. What I love too is even this retreat, as we're talking about it, you don't have to be in the middle of a startup to attend.
Right.
This is about those that have been like the startup has been part of their journey. It's been part of the process, and what you're inevitably going to do with this group is people that have 2 or 3 years ago did a startup are now kind of paired in a group with somebody who's just in it for the first time, and but everybody shares that common journey of we started this from nothing.
Yes. Yeah,
So
exactly.
um, have you? So what I love about Smile and Co is your kind of vision of a brand and watching that play out. What I love about the making of is turning a Facebook group into a podcast, and how like it's stuff with you naturally turns into a brand. Have you ever thought of yourself as a brand builder?
Um, no, but my husband tells me that I am.
Yeah.
Like, and I just want there to be personality in everything that I do.
Mhm.
And my personality is different than other people. So the way I see things, it's differently. We
Yeah.
conference differently, we mastermind differently, we do dentistry differently, hence my tagline. So um now, yeah, I think it's really cool to see the different entities that have formed and have it take on that brand. You know what you're going to get, that feeling. Um, yeah, so it's
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
It's it is. And to be honest, when I look at you, I see a little bit of this like I see almost like a Kardashian, like Rihanna type play where it's like
Oh, okay.
where like they've and I mean it like they've done something successful in a lane,
Yeah,
but they know how to build brands. And so you watch them kind of then go, okay, I'm going to invest in this and build this brand. And I think Rihanna hit like a billion, valuation of $1 billion. And so it's like dentistry needs some of that happening, and whether or not, and whether your lane is that to some extent, but I see that same, though, that it's a very valuable skill set and it comes very naturally to you.
Oh,
And
thank
so, I think even the more you kind of step aside, even clinically, and invest in other things and your eye to grab that and feel the vibe and recreate that, not a lot of people can do that. So,
well,
um,
thank you, friend.
so
It,
we'll see where it goes. It's been fun watching it so far. Um, what does life look like in the Joves house currently with three boys, Brian's practice, two practices of yours, and now a mastermind event?
it is, so life is loud in the Joves household. It is, I have three boys, so, and they're all in sports, and one is in two sports right now. So, oh, I mean, Brian is a partner in his private practice, and then we're doing Smiling Co. Part Two, the retreat, Little Black Dress, the making of.
Yeah,
Um, so if we didn't have this amazing tribe of people who have helped build what we're doing, I mean, it just would not be possible. So if we're not running around with patients, we are doing sports. And on the weekends, we make it a priority to really disconnect.
yeah,
Like I try not to answer emails or even go on social media as much. And
yeah,
that's something that I still have to be more disciplined at, because it's easy for me to finally respond to DMs, respond to emails at nighttime or the weekends. And if it's not me, it's Brian. We always have to remind each other to be present with our kids because they are only this young for so long.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it's just a wild ride.
yeah.
I'm here for it.
Any tips or tricks you guys, what have you been doing to just personally stay connected with each other through it all?
We are being more, I don't know if I told you or if you knew about it, but our youngest was hospitalized not that long ago.
Yeah,
So we were in the pediatric ICU for a couple days, and I think that really forced Brian and I to be more present. Like it really puts things into perspective, like all the things that we get caught up in with the day to day, with the patients, with growing our businesses, with profitability, the numbers. None of that matters if something were to happen to either our health or our family's health.
yeah,
And it made us really slow down. And and then we booked a trip to Universal Studios like that
nice,
week. And then we just got back from Maui. And and then in November, we are actually booking our first ever Disney cruise with the kids.
nice.
So just being more intentional, like, yes, we work hard, but we also need to make time for our kids, make time for each other. And we also are being more intentional with day dates. We don't get date nights per
Yeah,
se,
yeah,
but on Friday early afternoons, Brian and I are having lunch together somewhere, a different
yeah,
restaurant, or we're playing tennis. So those are the things that we make sure that we're doing regularly.
yeah. I love that because it's so important. I mean, I came through the first 6 months this year was just crazy for me. And it was just too, as I look back now, it's too fast paced, and
Yeah.
went on vacation and kind of did one of those things where it came back from 2 weeks of vacation and didn't feel rested. And I was
Right.
just like, and just, had some conversations with Joanna where it's just like, it's too fast. It's got all the things in front of you. I'm an Enneagram 3, so I'm an achiever. I want to go like conquer all the things, and check my boxes off and say yes all the time.
Yep.
And, and it's hard to kind of slow down. But I think it's actually, I'm speaking at the making of retreat, and I've got my like normal presentation that I can always do, but there's like something inside of me that wants to talk a little bit about like burnout and like managing that part, because the startup community, a lot of us are so driven,
Mhm.
and you get success with that first one and you're like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're 3 4 5 years into it and you're like, I am exhausted by
Yeah.
this. And it's so important to have those moments, and unfortunately sometimes it takes like a health scare or something major before all of a sudden you're like, what's going on,
Right. Right.
that was a scary road I was going down. I didn't even realize it for a minute. So um I think your heart for this community too, of not just like, it's not just about building something and success, it's about you know um those that matter most in your family and relationships. So I'm gonna wrap this up and let you go, because I know you've got things going on, of course. But at the end of this week, I always like to end with this question. On Friday night, long week, you guys are unplugging at home.
Yeah.
What's that look like? What are you eating? What are you drinking?
We have pizza movie night on Fridays.
Nice.
And the movie is, so we have a rule. It has to be kid friendly, but it can't be a cartoon
Okay.
unless mom and dad agree that it's a cartoon. Otherwise, I mean, you can only watch like SpongeBob so many times. Yeah, so that's been our tradition. And we're trying to eat healthier in the
Okay.
household. So the pizzas are now cauliflower crust
All right.
pizzas. So yeah. And Brian usually will open a bottle of his favorite red to go with.
Yeah. A little was it Michael David red?
Yes, Peter Michael.
Peter Michael, that's what it is. I knew it was like two names. Yeah. So
So do
good.
you know anything about Peter Michael?
Not really, no.
So there was a 2.5 year wait list to get on the allocation list.
Whoa.
And for 2 years in a row, I believe, Peter Michael was designated best winery in the world.
Okay.
And they make everything in small batches. Like they only release a couple hundred bottles.
Yeah.
And as soon as Brian gets the notification, like, hey, you can buy more, the dude is buying more. I was like, I saw one of his invoices and I almost like, I think I fainted. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you don't understand. This is going to be a good ROI. So yes, if when you guys come, I mean, I would love to show you guys Peter Michael. It's
Yeah.
it's in Calistoga. They
Okay.
have this amazing property where it's on the hill overlooking the valley, and it is unreal.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I should look that up and make an appointment on that Saturday to go up there and check it out.
can you text Brian
Yeah.
and let's just make that happen?
Okay.
And I want to go to the French Laundry. Have you eaten there yet?
No, but yeah, I would love to do that. I heard you got to be a year out on those,
Oh
but
shit.
yeah.
Well, let me see if I know anybody who knows someone.
Yeah, or get on the waiting list. If somebody cancels, we'll get in.
Yes, we'll swoop that up.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I love the pizza movie night. We do the same thing. Are you guys, so do you watch like Avengers, like that type of stuff?
We do. I know they're kind of violent, especially for Cody, but oh, I love like during COVID, we
Oh
watched all
yeah.
movies in chronological or in not in
Yeah.
chronological, but in story order.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we ended up doing the same thing. I think maybe you posted it. There was like was it like a
Oh yeah,
printout and you were checking
it's a
them off or
printout.
something? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
my kids love that. So we do the same thing, pizza and a movie. The kids all eat more healthy. They're gluten-free and dairy-free on the pizzas. So we have a local place here that does awesome. It's my one cheat night. So I
You
get
only
my
get
large
one cheat
pepperoni.
night? I need to be like
Yeah.
you.
I mean, for the most part, yeah, that's the one meal where I just don't care. So I get a whole large pepperoni pizza and probably eat most of it myself. I don't
That
care.
sounds
Don't judge me.
amazing.
Don't judge me. But
That's
yeah, red wine and pizza. you know.
Nice.
So cool,
Nice.
awesome. I'm gonna let you go. What's the best place online people can connect with you?
Okay, so on Instagram, I'm actually faster at responding to my DMs at Ashley Joves DDS. You can find our Facebook group, The Making of a Dental Startup. And there's also the Making of a Dental Startup for doctors only. So make sure to request both of those. Our website that the amazing Studio 88 created for us is the making of podcast.com. Make sure to check that out, especially if you're interested in swooping up one of the last 10 tickets for the retreat. And what else? And our podcast, the Making of Podcast. And if you're a woman and you just want to learn about other women crying, Little Black Dress Pod, which you guys have also helped us build. So yeah, I'm just so
awesome.
grateful.
So I was gonna say, if they want to grab one of the last tickets, go over to the makingofpodcast.com. That's the best place to grab that up.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me, especially on a Wednesday, middle week. I know you got a lot going on, but I appreciate it. Guys, if you're interested in that event, I mean, I don't think we could possibly say more about it. If you've been watching this whole thing, it's just going to be a spectacular time. Honestly, I think a ton of really great friendships are going to be created at this event that are going to last a lifetime. So, if that's not your thing, cool, but if you want to make some new friends and connect with people at a different level, I think this is going to be the perfect event for that. So thank you for being here with me.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Josh, for having me. And thank you to your amazing team for helping us build all of these brands with us. It's been so amazing getting to know you guys, and I'm so grateful for you and for you being our official sponsor of the retreat. So we can't wait.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So may not see you till then, but man, we are looking forward to November. Great time. So
yes, can't wait.
Guys, episode 42. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you around next time. See ya.